Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is part 4 out of 5 of the ultimate talent guide that I'm doing for you guys. So basically we're going over every single unit in the game. So that includes all leader, all troops, all spell, and we are going to check the 3 different talent and help you guys make a good decision when picking your first talent. So I guess without further ado, we'll start. But just before we do so, guys, please, if you enjoy the content, if this helps you guys, please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below if I made any mistake with any of these talents. But yeah, let's get into it. So our first leader, we're starting off with the leaders. Our first leader is Cairn Bloodroof. So his first talent, Reincarnation. After death, resurrect at 50% health once. This is pretty good, I would say. Anything that brings something back to life, or anything that heals, anything like that is always good because you're always going to use it. Next up, plains running. So he gets 50% increased movement speed, and he gains the fast trade. So for me, I think there really isn't like a fast deck right now in the meta. And I feel he really doesn't do much by himself. And so even with the fast trade, let's say you want to rush a lane down with him, I think you can really easily counter him. So I don't think this makes a great talent, but we might see some better play down the lines with a meta shift perhaps. And then we have Aftershock, where he gets the ability to, when he stuns, when the stun expires, affected enemies are dazed for 5 seconds. So for me, this is overkill because the stun already does the job. So for me, I think Aftershock is pretty much useless. And then plains running, I feel kind of doesn't fit right now in the current meta. So I would definitely go for Reincarnation. Yeah. Let's keep it going with Gromash Hellscream, which is one of my favorite leaders. And what are his talents? So first of all, Blade Storm, where he gain an AoE blade spin ability that damages all nearby enemies. So this is the one I picked, but I found out that actually it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, because it's really weird. Sometimes he's actually not going to do his ability even when some enemies are in range. You really need... So how it works is he's going to trigger his ability if you have 2 enemies like immediately next to him. Then he's going to do his AoE ability, and if something is a little bit off, now it's going to hit it. But if the thing is a little bit off of the range, let's say I think that's it actually. I think he needs to be able to be in a melee attack range, and that's of 2 enemy, and that's where he's going to use his AoE blade spin. But the AoE blade spin is actually a bigger AoE than his melee attack. So yeah, the requirements are kind of weird. So I thought it was going to be better, but it's still pretty good, especially because I'm playing him in a deck where we don't have a lot of things to deal with big swarm units. So yeah, that really counters that a lot. Next up, we have Mirror Image. So he's going to summon 2 fragile mirror images when entering combat. So I thought actually the opposite of Blade Storm for this one. I thought this one was gonna suck, but actually he keeps spawning those 2 mirror image every time he enters combat. So even if you defeat all of them and then there's another fight, he's going to spawn again 2 more. And the thing is, most of the time when he enters combat, the enemy is going to focus him, and then his mirror image are going to spawn after the focus happens, and then so the mirror image are going to be able to attack the thing that is attacking Gromash, which is really good. So it's actually much better than I thought. And then we have Savage Strikes, where he deals double damage to enemies who are below 50% health. So this is like a execute mechanic. Yeah, I think this one is not really the best out there. Gromash gives Bloodlust to all our friendly units. So the whole idea is to make our friendly units mostly the big damage dealers. So yeah, for me, I would go, I think, with Mirror Image if I could pick again. But Blade Storm can also work. So yeah, Blade Storm or Mirror Image here. Next up, we have Sneed. So Sneed has some very good talents, and they're all aligned with the mining ability or the gold ability. The first one is Mine is Money Friend, where he gains the Miter trait. This can't be very good, especially right now in the PvP map. It's really hard to get those gold mines consistently, but having a Sneed connecting, he mines super quickly, right? So having Sneed going on those gold mines, we're actually going to get almost all our gold back from every time we're going to play Sneed, so that can be very good. But Lead with Greed is also very, very good, and I think it's a little bit better because you gain basically an additional 2 gold when Sneed triggers Sneed before Greed. So that means that every time you have he's in play, no, not even when he's in play, I think. When a siege unit destroys a tower or a chest, we are going to gain 2 gold, which means if we take the chest in the middle, that's 4 gold instead of 4 gold instead of 2. So actually, excuse me, that's 6 gold because his ability gives him +2, the chest gives 2, and then the Lead with Greed would give another 2, so 6 gold if you take the middle chest, which is huge. I think it was a little bit better in the last meta, but yeah, I think right now it's still very, very good. And then we have Land Grab, where he gains a level whenever non-passive gold is earned. This one I think is probably the worst out of the 3. Maybe if you played like Harpies with Miter trait and then you played other stuff like Unbound Unit, focus all on gold, maybe you could do something. But I think Lead with Greed here is the best pick. But Mine is Money is better in this meta compared to the last season meta. All right, so we're done with the leaders. Now we're going to jump into all of the units and spell. First of all, we have the Batwriter, which isn't a great unit by itself right now. And then for his talents, or her talents, Flaming Pool reduces enemies' movement speed by 30%. I think this is okay, but the Batwriter is very good at dealing splash damage and killing what it needs to kill. I think the utility from reducing enemies' movement speed is fine, but I think Enchanted Vials is just better, where we're going to have an increase on the size of a Flame Pool by 30%, which means we're going to do more damage because we're going to hit almost his whole army with every single hit. So I think Enchanted Vials is a little bit better here, but Flame Pitch could work. And then we have Fiery Surplus, where she accidentally leave vials on the ground, burning nearby enemies that touch them. So this leaves like traps, but I think this is a little bit more clunky. I think we're better off with Enchanted Vials. Anything really that's like always going to benefit your troop. Any talent that's always going to benefit your troop is almost all the time the better one. So Enchanted Vials for me here. And then Chain Lightning. I love Chain Lightning. The first talent on deploy, stun enemies within their area for 1 second. This is the one I picked. I love the ability to reset a target. So let's say your enemy is pushing onto something and locks into like your backline. Well, then you could use your Chain Lightning to reset the enemies to attack maybe your front line. Now that, I don't know, maybe your Gromash caught up, and then your enemies are gonna change target. Then we have Storm's Reach, so dramatically increases jump distance between targets. I think this is okay, but most of the time, just the range of the Chain Lightning is good enough to hit almost all of his army. Then I think this one is just overkill, and it's not very necessary. And then we have Reverberation, where we get the ability to be cast a second time, but I think we have to cast it at the same amount of gold, so another 2 gold. So I think Brilliant Flash is just better here, and it's the one I picked, and it works really well. We then have the Darkspear Troll, and then we have some very good talents here. We have Big Bad Voodoo, where he regenerates 20% health every second. This is actually crazy because if he locks onto a turret, it's going to be very, very hard for the turret to kill him, because by the time the rocket hits him for a second time, he's going to heal like almost all of his health back, which is just huge. And yeah, very, very good. And there's a lot of other scenarios where he's going to be extremely powerful. Let's say you play a spell. Well, then you're going to use the spell, and he's going to gain back his health very, very quickly. Yeah, that's the one I picked. I love it a lot. But we have also Headhunting, which is also a great talent where he gains the ability of on kill, increase attack and movement speed by 10%, stack up to 50%. So basically he gets like Bloodlust, but up to 50%. But that's considering he gets 5 kills. I think it's fair to say he's going to get like 2.3 kills. I just did don't math. Yeah, 2.3 kills. So I would say 20% on average, or 23%. That's pretty good, actually. That is actually very good. But I just think the utility of Big Bad Voodoo is just better. And then we have Serpent Sting, which gives him poison, which would be great if it wasn't for being on Darkspear Troll, because all of the other 2 talents are just so freakishly good. So for me, I'm going for Big Bad Voodoo here without a doubt. Next up, we have Execute. So Execute has some interesting talents. We have a Bloodthirsty, where he's going to Bloodlust allies within the spell area for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long time. We then have Killing Spree, where if an enemy is killed, the next Horde mini costs 1 less. I mean, we are often going to get a kill, especially if we wanted to. But the reward of costing 1 less, your next Horde mini costing 1 less, not just your next mini, makes it very hard to be played in anything else than Horde lists. So yeah, a bit underwhelming for me. And then we have Overpower, where he has the ability to knock enemies, or it has the ability to knock enemies away from the cast location. So this can be good to like reposition our enemy. But yeah, I think for me the best talent out here would be Bloodthirsty, because it's just a 10 seconds Bloodlust. So in every single circumstances, once again, it's going to be very useful. We then jump into the Goblin Snapper here. So the Goblin Snapper they have some really good talents. They have Extra Boom, where there's actually a third one that's going to deploy. So that is very, very good. If all 3 hits, that's so much damage. That's a 50% increased damage. It's huge. But I think Rocket Powered Turbo Boost is better, where they gain the ability to move twice as fast and gain the fast trait. I think for these units, it's really important to be moving fast, and this is twice as fast, right? This is huge because it's all about getting onto your enemy's base as quickly as possible, and that's the hard part, right? The rockets from the main base could kill them very easily, but with this talent, it becomes much more harder. Your opponent needs to commit if he wants to deal with them. You also have Crude Gunpowder, where on death burn nearby enemies, but we don't want them to die, or not until they detonate on the tower. So for me, it's Rocket Powered Turbo Boost, the best talent here. Next up, we have the Ogre Mage, which I think is a little bit of an underwhelming unit right now. First talent, Frostfire Bolt. So they gain Frost. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Then Avarice, where they gain he gains Bloodlust when bloodlusting an ally, which means he's always going to be bloodlusted, right? Because we're not going to play our Ogre Mage if we're not going to bloodlust anything around it. That's the whole reason we're playing Ogre Mage. So this makes it very, very good. And then we have Ignite, where it burns enemy targets. But to me, he already does enough damage. I think Bloodlust is just better. And he's going to even deploy more damage with Avarice here with the Bloodlust ability. Next up, the Frost Wolf Shaman. So I have a lot of experience with this one, but I've actually never seen this one talent, which I'm very interested to see. The Earthwall Totem. So once per deploy, place a totem that partially heals a nearby tower or base. Isn't that just crazy? To me, that sounds extremely overpowered, especially with all those unbound lists right now. I feel like this should be a staple in the meta. Unfortunately, this is not the one I picked, but I'm really trying to get my Frothful Shaman to the blue rarity, however it's called, to be able to get that one. I think if it's as good as it seems it is, I don't understand why people are not playing that against all those crazy unbound lists right now. We have Lightning Mastery, where ranged attack chains to 3 nearby targets. So this is good if you want to deal a little bit more AoE, but I don't think this is very, very good because he almost does, or her, she almost deals no damage. So yeah, I think like you're better off going for Earthwall Totem, or the other one that I picked, Earth Shield, where she has the ability to grant armor to a nearby ally, and but that ability only has one charge. Still, though, this is still pretty good in certain decks. Giving armor to some certain units can be very, very, very good. But Earthwall Totem, please, guys, if any of you guys took that one, please tell me. Is it as OP as it seems? I'm very curious. If so, we need to play this to counter those unbound lists. Next up, we have the Stonehoof Tauren, which has some good talents, but one much stronger than the others, in my opinion. So the first one, Pummel, after connecting a charge, stun the target for 3 seconds. This is very good, but I think a lot of the times we're just killing the target immediately. So having a stun is kind of overkill, especially if we have some supporting units. Yeah, next up we have Provoke, where after connecting a charge, taunt nearby enemies. So I guess the idea behind that is, let's say you have some units in front that are getting damaged, and then your Stonehoof Tauren arrives, charges into battle. Everyone switch targets to attack the Tauren. Yeah, but I think this is a little bit too clunky. And then we have Momentum, which for me, I think is the best by far, where after connecting a charge, immediately charge a second time if possible. This is crazy because sometimes she's gonna destroy a unit and then immediately connect to the tower and deal some more damage. Or she's gonna destroy 2 units, or even if she doesn't destroy 2 units, it's still a lot of damage. Her charge ability is very, very strong. A lot of people say it's one of the strongest units in the game, and I do agree, especially with this momentum talent. Then we have the Warsong Grunts. So, once again, a little bit underwhelming units, but let's see the talents. First of all, Blood Pact. When a grunt dies, the other gain Bloodlust. This is very good. I think they have the Fury ability as well. So Bloodlust with Fury makes it so this second one that survived is going to be extremely, extremely powerful. We then have Guard Duty, which remain at deploy location until entering combat. This seems very interesting to me. I don't think it's really that great, but I love that whole idea of basically playing a deck completely differently, and it kind of feels more like a traditional RTS like Warcraft 3 with the Guard Duty talent. But nonetheless, I think Command is better. It's for a very niche situation, but the ability of Command is nearby beast allies deal 30% additional damage, and this I'm going to pick this talent to play in my Hogger list, because we're going to get our Hogger leveled up every single time, and then we're going to play it with our Warsong Grunts with other beasts, and we're going to have so much damage on board. That's going to be crazy. And then finally, another great unit, and the last Horde unit here is the Warsong Raider. The Warsong Raider has some interesting talents once again. The first one, Saboteur. Damaging a tower reduces its damage dealt by 50% for 3 seconds. This means it can be very good if she connects for a long period of time on the tower, but most of the time she's not going to do so. She's going to deal, I think the best playstyle with Warsong Raider is to get in, deal as much damage as possible, and then restart. Kind of like doing some chip damage over and over again. Yeah. So instead, I would go for Raising Focus, where it becomes a siege unit, ignoring all troops. This, to me, is very, very good. It makes me think of the Hog Rider in Clash Royale, another game, the parent game of this one, I would say. And yeah, this is very good because all you have to do is to help your Warsong Raider get to the base, and you're always going to deal some damage. Let's say you give it Bloodlust. Let's say you're doing with a Blizzard or something like so. It's going to be extremely, extremely powerful. Plus, if you're able to overlevel your Warsong Raider, it's going to be extremely hard for your opponent to deal with this troop. We also have Sunder Armor. This is the one I picked, but I wish I took Raising Focus, where damaging an armored enemy removes their armor. So I picked that because I had an issue with some Molten Giants in the deck. But if I had to pick again, I would go for Raising Focus for sure. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching this part 4 out of 5. We still have Blackrock's unit to go. And yeah, we'll see what we'll do after that. Are we going to start a new series, something else? I have some other ideas. Tell me down below if I was wrong about any talents here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.